GG the Vibe Podcast coming at you another episode. This guy got some, as we get ready to go into election season, Biden stepped down. He endorsed Harris. I don't think anything is said that the Democrats have said yes 100% for sure, but I think that's the direction they're going. I definitely have seen a lot of people, there's a lot of divide in the black community on this one, but I'm just going to talk about her crime stuff in Sacramento. Um, and I'm gonna let him. He's gonna kind of talk about some things. I'm gonna talk about her drug lab issues. So Biden, when he was running against her, made the claim about 1,000 drug cases that have been dismissed when Harris was the DA is accurate. Although Harris denied knowing about it, there were some hiccups in her time as a DA. She also would not give up evidence that would exonerate an African American male that was in prison under her watch. So I'm gonna let this guy talk, and then we'll dive into it just a bit. It won't take us too long.
Vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris for president, you should know this. This is Kevin Cooper. Kevin Cooper was hours away from a deadly lethal injection when his lawyers actually asked to acquire DNA evidence to assure that he was actually guilty of the crime. Kamala Harris and the office that she worked for at the time refused to turn over this DNA evidence, which actually proved that Kevin Cooper was not guilty of the crime. It actually took the governor of California to demand that she turn over the evidence. Once she actually did turn over the evidence, Mr. Cooper was exonerated immediately. Kamala Harris was actually asked by the New York Times about this incident. She said she feels really bad about it. That's a very large statement for someone's life that was in your hands. Not only that, but when Kamala Harris was the head of California State's Attorney General's office, the drug labs that were being used to test and see if the narcotics were actually real or not was actually bringing back a bunch of false positives, which allowed thousands of people to end up incarcerated, even though the tests were wrong. Kamala Harris and her office never attempted to let the judges or the lawyers or anyone else know that the drug labs were actually coming back with these false positives.
So we're gonna talk about Kevin Cooper real quick. So Gavin Newsom, California governor, ordered new DNA testing in the 1983 murder case of Kevin Cooper. Cooper came within hours of execution in 2004 after being charged with the murders of an adult couple and two children. Harris opposed the testing when she was the state's attorney general, so she did not want them to retest. And so what I will tell you sometimes when it comes to DAs is they're about that win percentage. And so she, being a district attorney, was probably obviously about that win percentage. In this case, did not do the right thing. She has since said that she supports DNA testing and encouraged uh, Newsom to approve Cooper's request. She did not offer specifics on why she did not approve the testing during her tenure. So during her tenure as DA, she was against it, but now she's like, okay, I'm for it. And that's probably after finding out that this guy, that the testing exonerated this guy who was literally on death row. I mean, he was moments away from a lethal injection. Had that gone through, and then they tested DNA later and find out he was innocent, that would be even worse. So I'm glad that they even found out um, or they were even given the opportunity to test that DNA. And so I mean, it's crazy. Uh, she defends her criminal justice record and reform in the system and things like that. But at the end of the day, people that are crooked will always be crooked, regardless. Um, she got over on a lot of African American men in prison in California through the drug testing issues, getting false positives back for drug tests. Thousands of cases were thrown out. I mean, there's thousands of men, thousands of people, I wouldn't say just men, probably women too, were incarcerated on these drug charges. And after finding out that the drug lab had some issues, which they're saying Harris and her people knew about it, but they didn't let the judges know and the defendants know. Because, like I said, it's all about that win percentage. Like, all she cares about as a district attorney is winning cases. Like, that's it, right? There's not a whole lot of moral compass when it comes to district attorneys and cases and things like that. There's no moral compass. It's literally, we have to do what it takes to win the case. And so, you know, coming from that background to becoming a president of the United States is crazy. I mean, even Biden was a defender, so um, he was an attorney who was on the other side of the aisle, but still in that arena of the legal system. And so it's just crazy to me that you can have that many cases thrown out and a whole bunch of issues in the crime lab, and like nobody said anything. So I think that was the biggest thing that we kind of took. And so I'm not saying that that's just the complete reason to vote for Trump, but I'm saying that we need to look at it as from a culture, from black people, as not just we're just going to have the token black person thrown at us and say, hey, you guys need to vote for us. I mean, Biden even said, if you don't vote for me, then you're not black, essentially. So, um, and they've also quoted a president. I think Lyndon B. Johnson was who it was, from literally after he signed the act to be able to get voters' rights in for black people. He said that we are going to be voting for the Democratic Party for 200 years, and he has been 100% correct. And so all they got to do is parade a black person around, and all black people are going to vote for us. We're that community that just doesn't. We don't move. We don't have. We never really move the needle. The needle stays the same. It's consistent all the time. And so just get facts on her. Like get facts on her. We know what Trump is. I'm trying to figure out what she is as we kind of make some decisions on what we want to do. And so I think that's important, and I think that's something that we need to look into as African Americans, and trying to find out what's the best way. Like if there's more money in my pocket if I vote for Trump, I'm going to vote for Trump. If he can get the interest rates down, if he can get the housing market to kind of cease a little bit, the interest rates coming down from that will be huge. It's cost a shit ton to get groceries now. I mean, the cost of living is just skyrocketing, and we're continuing to funnel money overseas. We're also funneling in immigrants from other countries, and then they're getting paid while we got people here in America that need the money too, but we're giving it to them. And so inflation happens when you have an abundance of population, but not a lot of the population is working. So if you're just giving money away to immigrants coming over here, and there's no work requirements, they're not working, or it could also be they're taking our jobs. People are paying them cheaper than they'll pay the American people. And so I think that I'm a very domesticated mind. I like to take care of home before I take care of everybody else. We can't just send billions over to Ukraine and then we can't take care of business here. Cost of living here is crazy. Interest rates going up, tax rates going up. But we're continuing to funnel money to other countries. That never made sense to me. I've never understood why that's done. Um, Especially with our debt. Like we're just adding to our debt by sending all this money everywhere. And so think about the policies of people and the things that they represent, not just the skin color. That's my advice to the African American constituents. That's my advice to anybody who's going to vote in this election. Spend some time looking at what they're about. Kamala Harris ran against Biden. So you will have some of her, what she's about, if you just go back and look at some of her speeches, because she has been here before. And Biden literally beat her. Like, beat her. She dropped out quickly. He beat her with ease. And so I think that we have to look into those things before we start making decisions. And I think people are so party affiliated that they can't think for themselves. You can't be party affiliated. Like if you set yourself in the middle and then you look at what the candidates are actually about, as opposed to being told what they're about. And I think a lot of people are told. Um, all the racist rhetoric that has been spewed out by the media. Now we didn't have an assassination attempt on a former president who's running for president right now, which is crazy. It's unprecedented. But that's that rhetoric, and that's people spewing out stuff with no facts behind it. I don't even know how they got to the fact that Trump is racist. He's just a white guy. So because he's a white guy running for president, he's supposed to be racist. I mean, the only thing we really had him say was grabbing females by the genitals, and then this stripper chick or whoever that he paid off under the table, which is I guess worth 35 or 40 felonies or however much that they tried to put off on him. Those are only things that you really heard from about Trump. So you haven't really heard anything that would lead me to believe as a black person that he's racist. I've never heard anything that said he's racist, so I don't know. But that's just what they're just putting out there. So yeah, guys, have your own mindset and figure things out. All right. But I like this guy had to say. Keep your ears open, keep your minds open too, and keep your minds open and start to figure out, okay, what are these people about? This is GT Divide Podcast, another episode now. Another episode coming. I'm out.